You knew it was coming. I disappeared for weeks after boldly declaring that Solar Crest is the greatest item ever conceived by man. Of course, I'd end up making a guide to the Solar Crest hero. Here's the thing, this is one of the most requested guides I've ever had. It sort of begs the question why this has taken me so long to get around to. Well, Visage, previously, was shit. You could win with him, yes, but it was always an uphill struggle. His birds died too fast, were too slow, Gravekeeper's Cloak didn't even visibly do anything, and against evasion he had nothing. And then 7.0 happened. Want to hear something appetizing? Visage is a lot easier than you think. Imagine you're in the cockpit of a jet, 10,000 feet in the air. There's 1,000 buttons, but all you need to know is how to land. You don't know yet, so you're panicking, but after understanding that one aspect, suddenly you're free to flick switches just to see what you can get away with. So, let's learn how to land. Visage is not really understood by anyone in the world, and that includes me. I'm actually sort of melancholy making this guide because the days of most people not knowing what Visage's spells even do are gonna be over. Right at the top of everything are the two extremes on the spectrum of damage. Techies takes top spot with his incredible burst, but right next to him is Pudge, who deals primarily in damage over time. So what gives? It turns out, the closer you are to either end of the spectrum, the more Gravekeeper's Cloak and Visage counter you. The key to beating a Visage is to strike a balance. You want heroes that deal steady burst damage but over the course of a few seconds, so ditch the Tinies and the Lions, the AAs and the Disruptors. In fact, here's a good sample size on a bell curve of how much each hero deals with a Visage. The big ones end up being heroes who can constantly dish out good damage without giving you the time you need to recharge your layers. Heroes like Beastmaster and Lone Druid do it because of their summons and attack speed, Naga Siren and CK with their high damage illusions, and Medusa sort of just casually kills your familiars even when she's trying not to. As with every Only Way to Play guide I've done, you can find this one in-game as well as here. The link is in the description, and here is the skill build. Oh, yeah, this is probably a good time to mention that I take a mid. Grave Chill is the most straightforward spell we have. It slows movement and attack speed and buffs Visage for the same amount. But the buff and debuff are independent, so if one is purged, the other one stays. Soul Assumption as in like taking something, as in like assuming control. Not the expectation of something without proof. If it was that, then it'd be a lot worse because you can't assume all Dota players have souls. Anyway, Soul Assumption works like this. If over 110 player-to-player damage is dealt in a 1400 radius, Visage gains a charge that lasts for 6 seconds. If within that 6 seconds the threshold is crossed again, you get another charge, but that first charge still disappears after 6 seconds. Casting Soul Assumption uses the charges accrued, and each one deals 65 damage. At max charges, the spell deals over 410 damage with a 900 cast range and a 4-second cooldown. What this means though is that Soul Assumption's 410 damage immediately charges Soul Assumption again, which you cast 4 seconds later. The damage you deal feeds into the damage you deal, feeds into the damage you deal. The crux is that it's an extremely expensive spell to spam at 140 to 170 mana. Gravekeeper's Cloak nowadays gives you 4 layers of 20% damage reduction at level 4. That's 80% total reduction, and the only way to remove the layer is to deal more than 50 damage. Here's the thing though, that's after all other reductions, and after 3 seconds they come right back. You're walking through much of the machines, not losing any charges because of how little the amount of damage is. Tinker jumps on you, missiles, lasers, Dagons. He's burnt through 3 layers and only dealt around 200 damage. But fuck all that. You are here because of Summon Familiars. The reason you're scared to play Visage. This is how Visage's familiars work. They fly, have flying vision of around 400 units. Our heroes usually have around 1800, and they attack really fast. 410 damage. They do, however, have 2 extra perks. One is that they have 7 charges of bonus damage. 24 multiplied by the amount of charges they have gives the bonus damage of that hit. So with 7 charges, the first hit is 168, plus the base damage. With 6, 144, on and on. It takes 2 seconds for a charge to recharge, and as of 7.0, Stoneform doesn't replenish it. So in order to get 7 charges back, you have to stop them attacking for 14 seconds. But we've skipped a beat. Stoneform is the one ability your familiars get to use. After half a second, they drop to the ground where they stand, dealing 140 damage and stunning for 1.5 seconds. They then stay in Stoneform for 6 seconds, regenning up to full HP again, unable to move, attack, or be attacked. But each familiar can be dropped at a different time, so in theory and with Ags, you can stun lock them for 4.5 seconds, dealing 420 damage. Ags gives you another familiar, so you'll have 3. And here's the most alleviating thing I can tell you. You don't have to micro at all. And I'll explain why soon. With Visage being ranged, I'm not allowed to suggest Echo Saber, so start off the game with a Ring of Bessie, Fairy Fire, and Iron Branch, up the Bessie into Aquila maybe, but basically we rush straight into Midas. Aim for 12 minutes, but if all goes well, you can get it at sub 10. We go Midas because of the insane 30% XP gain talent at level 10, and because of all of our talents all the way up are really great. Yes, you can skip Midas if you're not doing well, but if you're not doing well, maybe it's safer to dip into supporting and letting the other cores do the heavy lifting. With or without Midas, we go straight into the utility of Solar Crest, which doesn't need to be jerked off anymore by me. Late game, pick up Assault Cuirass every game, Ags every game where you can safely say your familiars undying, and Bloodthorn every game they have Evasion. Shiva's is good, Deso's good, Mjolnir's good. The only regen we get is with Tranquils earlier in the game, so we might need to swing for a pipe or helm. Usually not though, because of Gravekeeper's Cloak being so amazingly good at making you not take any damage. Don't really expect to get a kill before level 6, you don't do enough damage to accrue Soul Assumption's charges, and that's why we get the 1 level, because it gives us 3 max charges. We don't really ever get to 3, but it's still so we can have it there just in case. If they go on you and you turn on them with Grave Chill, then you can get a charge or 2, but level 6 is when it all happens. The second you hit level 6, summon Familiars, Grave Chill the enemy, and run them down. Familiars count towards your Soul Assumption damage, and you can pretty much get 3 charges just like that. Speaking of familiars, here's the thing that I've alluded to twice now, the anti-micro secret. You never need to select one familiar, because while group selecting you can't see the individual's current bonus damage, you can see the charges the familiar has, with the buff above its health bar. If it has 7 charges, it's going to deal a lot of damage. If it's got 1 charge, then probably go set it aside somewhere. Familiars also have the lowest priority when it comes to towers, creeps, and Roshan. Even though they have to be next to it to deal damage, the tower prioritizes even creeps before them. You don't even need to micro them away from danger because they never are. So in reality, the only thing you need is a button to select Visage and a button to select all but Visage. And lo and behold, there's an option directly in the menu for exactly that. After you have all of the familiars selected, just tab through them to drop into Snowed form. Visage is the least micro-intensive hero. Other than the 1k Meepo, I'm sure you're familiar with it. The trick is to just tab puff, tab puff, tab puff, and hope that you kill everyone. Oh hi, it's me. And it's been a while, again. This guide was finished up and put up for my Patreon viewers a while back, and while some of the numbers have changed for the spells, in general everything is still the exact same. Honestly, I researched this guide ever since its change, and while I'm not really into Visage as much as I could be, all of the games I played him in, I stomped in. The only thing that stopped me playing Visage was just getting bored of winning so much. That's not a joke, play Visage. Honestly, it's free MMR. A lot happens in the next month. The only way to play will be taking an official revamp to give me and everyone who helps me the time to make other Dota content. And so to see the end of this format off with a bang, from now until the 21st I will be releasing 2 videos a day. Yeah. The only way to play has waned in quality a bit here and there. It's a long running series, and before it dies I want to revitalize it. So come its re-emergence, episodes will be 20 minutes long and monthly, and dealing with extremely hard heroes and breaking them down. And also exploring more meta things. Not meta as in the game meta, as in life. I'm gonna give psychological advice. We'll see how that turns out. Guides on how to notice tilts, guides on empathy and sympathy. Really, I feel like they're not really Dota guides as much as life guides that you can apply to Dota to get an edge and win games. Everything for that little bit of MMR, right? Currently planned is Meepo, Invoker, and of course, Oracle. On the final day of this massive series of releases, I will be releasing the Wisp Carry Guide, and it'll be worth the wait. After that, we have my entry for the short film contest, something that you will have never seen on this channel, a video with good animation. I'm very proud of it. And don't worry if you miss it, you'll see it again on the main stage of TI. Maybe. And then DreamHack happens, and I have a special series for that too. And go into it with an open mind. It'll be real life, but it'll still have this weird brand of unique humor the channel's always had. Because it's me, the channel is me, it's my humor, and I'll be in it. It'll also have a hot girl on screen for 90% of it. just as an added incentive. And then after TI, I'll get back to my house, collapse on the couch, and see where to go from here. But wherever that is, you're all coming along with me. And of course, as always, a very, very special thank you to the following people: Michael Bauer, Gore Rocker, Leonard, Foxy fucking Loxley, Free Kill, Chris, 1996, Pearson Mewborn, Locust Cocon, Mr. Magic aka The Tones, the infamous Logan Van Dusen, Mr. Revolut, Hubert motherfucking Cummerdale, The Crumb and McAngel Face, Shoot, Shadow Sweetheart, Jeff Miller, Jacob Miller, no relation, I assume, Roger Mafleur, Turd Ferguson, Michael Robb, Kaiser Wilhelm, Orslovic, Shiva's Guard, Red, English Breakfast Tea, Snuggly Waggins, Litho, Klamath, Yebus McGee, Soronog, Surprise Fatty, now part of the $5 Club, I1, XD, Christian Rudder, XZ, Milocott, Booty Souffle, Scar, Apache Mari wearing a headwear neckwear nicknamed as Hatcraster, Saintly motherfucking Swordfish, Zwok, Tsunami Shadow, Punith P, Rhett Mitchell, Aegis, Herpa Derpa Dooda Derp, Swaggity Booty, Boot Boot, Boo Pro-S, Cody F, Fortunate Hive, Dice, Slap a Leg a Lame on the side for it, Redless, I am one with the men on Kazoo, Kerrison, 15, just the number 15 I guess, Aaronin, Comrade, Rawface, Xenopenumbra, Chestnut, and the rest didn't pay enough to get me to read out their name. It's very awkward. This is pretty much me just shaming them now. Look at them all. Ugh. Look at that one. Ugh. Nah, I'm kidding, dude. I'm kidding.